All right, folks, from the shores of the Great Slave Lake right here in scenic, frigid, snowy northern Canada, straight down to, I don't know where this next fella is. He could be anywhere in the world, literally. I got Matt Halpern of Grammy-nominated progressive metal act, Periphery. How are you doing, man?
I'm great with the intro like that. I feel, I think that's like the first time anybody's actually said Grammy nominated Periphery.
I know. Well,
Um,
does it feel weird that I mean, like, I don't want to make it sound like you guys are some sort of bizarre anomaly, but I mean, a progressive metal act of your nature, like, does it feel weird to get the big Grammy nom this year?
Man, I don't even know how to answer that. It's just, it's such a cool acknowledgement for any style of music.
Uh-huh.
So I think for us to even have that associated with our name is pretty surreal and pretty amazing, and we're all extremely grateful. So weird or awesome, whatever the word we want to use, it's just good. It's positive, so I'm happy with it. It's just cool to hear because
Yeah.
I really haven't heard that yet, and it's interesting to like officially have somebody be able to say that.
Yeah. Well, now, this particular award, though, best metal performance I'm talking about, you're nominated
Yep.
for your track off Periphery 3, The Price is Wrong, but I know, it's a bit of a polarizing category, is it not? Because, I mean, there's some artists that like to whine and cry about how they've, never won, or they're nominated, but this person wins and this person doesn't. What's your whole thoughts on the entire institution in general?
Man, I'm just happy to even be acknowledged amongst this sort of scene, because
Yeah.
the Grammys are, they're very mainstream.
Yes,
And,
they are.
it was very telling to see that because, like, a lot of the people that I grew up with who really don't know the music world, they really knew what the Grammy nomination meant. And they came out of the woodwork and were very complimentary and so forth. And that is indicative of how mainstream it is, and it's not some small little niche market.
Yeah.
So whether we win or not, I mean, look, if we won, that would be insane. But just the fact that we are nominated is such a, as I said, it's such a high honor. And just for that, I'm happy. Now that I know how it works and that there is a Grammy board and there's so many members of the Grammy board and they all vote,
Mhm.
on the actual awards. I mean, I get how it works. I totally think it's, I think it's a fair way to do things. A lot of the people that I think vote on the metal category don't even, like, put it this way. So from what I've heard, a small portion of the people on the Grammy board actually even vote on the metal category. So it's still a very sort of new, almost uncharted territory for a lot of people. So, I mean, I don't know. It's exciting to have a chance to tell more people about who we are and illuminate the genre at the same time for a lot of people that aren't really familiar with the metal genre. So it's kind of a really cool responsibility that we have, and it's as I said, it's a really cool honor in that we don't look at this as like, oh, it's all about us and Periphery and so forth. I mean, we're friends with all of the bands that are nominated in our same category.
Mm-hmm.
We know all the guys, and it's really good for the genre as a whole. So I don't really have any negative feelings about it. I don't really ever feel like, oh, this band got nominated and they won and they're not deserving of it because they're maybe more mainstream versus, our band getting nominated and winning. I just think for the metal genre, it's just an overall good thing to shine light on what people in this and what bands in the genre are doing, because it's not, it's like, if you look at the bands that are nominated, it's us, Gojira, Megadeth, Korn, Baroness, and every band is different. Every band has their own sound.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure last year Ghost won in this category, and like that's a new thing. So it's just really cool to show the diversity within the genre, I think.
Yeah,
well, I know it's a long-winded answer, but hopefully that's what you were looking for.
Let's talk about the actual nominated track. It's The Price is Wrong. I think that was the first single that you guys released off the album, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was, and it was a song that almost didn't even make the cut because So
Classic.
that was a song that we were playing around with actually for Juggernaut, and we didn't at the time we didn't have the right arrangement for it. We kind of exhausted it, to be honest. And when we finished Juggernaut and we chose not to put it on that record, we didn't think we would ever come back to it. And during the time we were just messing around with demos for P3, Jake, who's one of our guitar players, revisited that song and ended up writing a whole new chorus to it, which is the chorus that we have now. And from then on, it just kind of works. We ditched the old direction of it. We came up with a new direction for it, and it all came together. But it was a song. It was a riff that had been around for years and years and years. And we just, we kind of made it work, and it all came together. And funny enough, it's the heaviest song on the record. It's the most aggressive song on the record. There's no singing whatsoever. It's all screaming, and it's nominated for a Grammy. So it was a little bit of a head scratcher in that regard, but I guess it's definitely truly representative of the genre. It's the most metal song that we have on that record. So if they want a metal nomination, this is the one to go for,
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking as you were describing your process, I know when I talked to Mark a few months ago, he was saying that you guys never really discard ideas, that there's always a riff bank that you can draw upon, and it's pretty meticulously cataloged as well.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we at this point, we keep everything in our Dropbox folder, very well organized, but it's all there. Our whole catalog is there.
Yeah.
And
it's organized according to like BPM and key signature and everything, is it not? Like you guys could just go, okay, like I've got something in like 160. Here's a riff that's sort of similar, and we can, that's in a key that would be easier to switch over, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, usually the file names do have the BPM listed in it, so we can pretty quickly, find stuff that we would want to use like that. But we really have it in sort of like, lists of songs that made it, songs that almost made it, ideas that are really short, ideas that are really long, things that could be good interludes, things that could be, be good song starters. So yeah, I mean, there's actually a lot of different categorizations that we use for the demos. But yeah, I mean, we never get rid of anything. We never throw it away. We're very respectful of the art, because when somebody in the band writes a riff, it's very important to them. And just because it doesn't work right now doesn't mean that, we're just going to discard it and never revisit it. There's always the chance that, that someone's artistic work is going to get a chance to see the light of day.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool,
So you're a band of like 3 shredding guitar players. And, Nolly has his producing thing that he also does with Misha, and, Spencer's got his own thing in terms of the vocals. Now, where do you fit into this whole picture on drums? Like, what's your approach normally there?
Well, like, I would say that I'm definitely the authority when it comes to drums. I make the decisions about my parts. I definitely will really, really spend a lot of time writing the parts that I want to write. I do a lot of it with Misha, though, just because Misha is he's a drummer as well. He's a really good drummer. He's got great ideas. He's a great drum programmer. And in our writing process, before we ever go into the studio to record live drums, we program all of the parts pretty much how they're going to be recorded. And that's a really in-depth process for me. And there's a lot of different phases to it. It starts off bare bones, and then we try all sorts of things, and then we tweak it from there. And then I take it to the drum set, and I tweak it from there. And then we'll sign off on what I feel is the best part and what everybody else agrees to be the best part. But yeah, I mean, in the band as a whole, we all contribute to the writing process. We all have opinions that we can express, and we all have the ability to contribute parts. It's as the drummer and so forth in a band with a lot of other writers, I kind of take the approach of sometimes there can be too many cooks in the kitchen, so I don't mind sitting back and letting things develop a bit and then stepping in after the fact to really tweak the parts that I will be most connected to,
Are you sort of deliberately looking to be just as progressive as your guitar playing brethren in these tracks? Like, are you challenging yourself, or are you trying more or less to fit?
I honestly, I think that happens naturally because, I really try to write parts for the songs.
Mm-hmm.
And because my guitar players are always pushing themselves and coming up with ideas that seem a little bit, sort of out of their grasp, even when they write them at first,
Mm-hmm.
that pushes me to come up with parts that fit those more complex rhythms and melodies and so forth. And we don't ever write anything for the sake of being complex or being cool or being crazy. That's never something that we think about or even ever discuss. The parts that we write really just tend to be what's best for the song and what is authentic to our vision and our ideas. That being said, I have a lot of really talented guys in the band, and they're all super, super progressive in the way that they think and the way they write. So it automatically pushes me to be the same way. And I think we all do that for each other. We all inspire each other in different ways.
Well, now listen, the Grammy weekend is the weekend of February 12th at the Staples Center in LA. Are you guys all heading out there to, do the whole red carpet routine, or are you going to be on tour?
That would be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we will be, not unfortunately, we won't be able to make the Grammys because we will be, I think that night we're performing in Taipei, in Taiwan. So
that's a ways away. You couldn't even do a heroic run to try and grab a snitch of it. Like you're going to be across the water. So
I wish.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're trading one awesome thing for another.
Yeah.
Instead of being at the Grammys and walking the red carpet and hopefully winning an award, we're going to be playing a show in front of our awesome fans in Taiwan. And
fair enough.
If there's anywhere else we'd rather be, it's there.
Yeah.
So it's a nice consolation. And I'm realistically optimistic. I have no idea who's going to win. I have no idea if we even have a shot with bands like Korn and Megadeth and Gojira in the mix, and and Baroness. So who knows? It's the way I look at it. It's anybody's game, and we're just excited to be in the mix whatsoever. So that's great.
Yeah, it seems as though they've kind of like got the nominations down more this year than in previous years, thinking about how there was argument as to whether Ghost should have even have been in a metal category or not. And then I think the year before Tenacious D was winning. Granted, it was for a brilliant cover that they did of a Dio song, but there was a bit of a controversy there, like, comedians winning the best metal thing. But this year, I really honestly don't think anybody has anything to complain about any of the nominees, each equally deserving, including yourselves. And I definitely wish you all the best. And I'm rooting for you. And I honestly, I hope you win.
Well, that's really cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I hope it would be amazing. It would be sort of, it would totally be surreal. But if we don't win, I'm more than happy to lose to any one of the other artists that are in the category, because I think we all support each other, and I think, as you said, there's no disappointment. Like, it's a pretty good category to be in, especially amongst the other artists. So we're very lucky. Very lucky. We're very proud.